Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Tonight is Friday night, February 16th, and I have just come home for the Burbank Card Show. And I usually do this twice a year, so I'm going to give you a review of what I saw today at the Burbank Card Show. As I'm filming this, it's roughly 8:30 at Pacific time. I've been home roughly an hour, spent all day out there. And I've got some video, not much, just because you see the same cards at every show, but I do have some footage that I will share with you guys along with some pickups. But I just want to give you some general info. The Burbank Card Show was started today on Friday. It also runs Saturday and Sunday at the Ontario Convention Center out in Ontario, California, not Canada. And just in case you're thinking of heading out there, it's around 50 miles outside of LA, down the 10 freeway. So if you're thinking of heading out there, it's a good show. And so tomorrow on Saturday, the hours are from 10 a.m. Our VIP entry is at 10 a.m. A regular admission is at 11 a.m. and the it ends at 7 p.m. And on Sunday, the hours are 11 a.m. No, make that Sunday, the hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. VIP admission starts at 10, regular admission starts at 11. In regards to, let me do parking first. You're going to park south, you should park south of the convention center, the actual building itself. There's a lot of parking. I got there early today. I was meeting a friend. The VIP entry was at 11. I got there at 10:30. Because I got there at 10:30, I got excellent parking, literally right up front. If you come a little later, there's parking up front. Then there's additional parking across the street. And I parked there for the last show they had in Ontario. There's plenty of room there to park. $20 has to be credit or debit, no cash. So $20 to park your car. And that includes no in and out privileges, by the way. And I'm not talking about the hamburger stand. So $20 for parking. Admission is $25 for regular admission. So a day. Now, $25 means that gets you in at 11 o'clock in the morning. If you pay an extra $5, and if you're in a hurry, early entry might be your way to go. That's $30, and that gets you in at 10 a.m. I got there during the VIP hour. I'm not a VIP, that's for sure, but I was in there during the VIP, and it was nice. It's not crazy yet. Somewhere, I would say around. I noticed around 2 o'clock it was busy. It was a lot of people, but it's a very good location. So $25 regular admission, $30 for early entry admission. When you go in, there are two rooms, excuse me. There's a big room and there's a small room. Definitely hit up both rooms. I'll talk about the small room first. Um, Small room, you could do that. You could do a circle in there in 10 minutes, 30 minutes. I walked the floor twice. That's where the Burbank card store has their setup. I think Tag was there, and they had a long line of people. I think if you got your photo taken, they turned it into a baseball card, something along those lines. I'll be honest with you, when I go to card shows, all I do is look at cards. I don't get into the extra gimmicks or the promotions that they run. So I'm usually either buried at a table. I'm usually buried at a table or walking up and down an aisle. So there's the small room, and then across the hall is the big room. If you've been to the Burbank show before in Ontario, this show is a little bigger than the last one just because they added that additional small room. So it is a little bigger. It's not as big as the Disneyland or the Anaheim show that they have in the summer and that they will have, I believe, in late August. I think I heard the dates for August 22nd to August 25th. That show's a lot bigger. Doesn't make a difference. This is still a good show. There are a lot of great sellers. And there's all types of cards here, and you know me, I only focus on vintage. But for my Pokemon friends and for those that collect modern sports cards, um, there were a lot of them. I could tell you that. I don't know anything about them, but I could tell you that they were there. Vintage wise, um, in my opinion, if you're no, there's a lot of vintage. My first impression was that there was a lot of vintage graded cards. That was my initial take. I was like going, okay, this is going to be a long day for as a set builder. Um, let's talk about the graded cards first. A lot of vintage graded cards. It's amazing. Sometimes, and I've heard people say this about the National. Sometimes I wish, if you're going to bring me a 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle, do you have any threes, fours, and fives? Do you have to share do you only have to bring your eights and nines? There's a lot of high end grade cards there. Eventually, I did find some cards that were more like I usually try to buy PSA 4 or 5 if I'm lucky a six. I did find those. Lots of vintage graded slabs. One thing I'm seeing a lot of, but this has been a thing I would think the last year, and it's really nice to see. I'm seeing a lot of graded slabs on sale. I saw one seller, they had 1969 Pete Roses and Ernie Banks and Roger Maris, and they had some modern cards and they had some basketball cards, and they were selling them for like graded cards for like $25-$30. So that was really nice to see. So lots of good graded cards there. Um, I saw. It's interesting because my other initial take at first was I was looking for particular cards. I was looking for 1941 play ball, and I was looking for 1963 tops. And as usual, when it comes to 1941 play ball, I found Ted Williams, I found Joe DiMaggio, I found Jimmy Fox, I found a couple of other cards. But if you're trying to be in the weeds and get some commons, it's not happening at this show. It's not happening on any show. I think on this side of the Mississippi River. I'm assuming you have to go to the National for that. But still, good stuff. In regards to my first take was I'm gonna have a long day here as a set builder. And that's not true. After a while, after lunch, and we'll talk about the food in a bit. Um, After lunch, I really dug in and I just started uh, really talking to sellers and looking at their cards. And you hear this a lot. Don't be afraid to ask. They're asking you what you're looking for. Sellers are trying to sell you cards. And I finally would start saying, like, do you have any 1963 Topps cards? And they would say, yeah, oh, I got some right here. Or, oh, they're not out. Um, it's funny because eventually at one point, uh, I was with George, Diamond Yard Sports Cards, and I was sitting back there just kind of chilling just because I needed a break. And I literally just said, George, do you have it? And I had been at George's table all day, and he had these amazing, there was a 33 Goudy Ruth, and there was a 51 Willie Mays, Bowman Willie Mays. And so he has all his graded cards laid out there. So, they're there for everyone to see. And all of a sudden I just sit there and I go, George, do you have any 1963 Topps cards? And he goes, yeah, I do. And he goes, all of a sudden he takes out 2 boxes of 1963 Topps cards. And I had a field day just sitting there going through them. And then that happened later when I was done looking through George's boxes, I went to another table and I couldn't see certain things. And he goes, what are you looking for? And I said, 1963 Topps. And he goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a box right here. And it was a smaller box. I didn't pick anything up, but you have to ask these guys, these sellers, if you need something, just because not everything is laid out on a table for you. Some of these guys just have boxes behind the table. So yeah, I did find a lot of, there's help for us set builders out there. That's for sure. Um, I saw one gentleman, he brought a lot. And it made me wish I was working on any set besides 1963 because it seemed like he had every common card from the late '60s to through the '70s. But so there is a lot of there was a lot of common cards there. You really have to dig deep. I'm one of those. I'll be honest. I walk up and down the aisles very quick, and I'm someone that if I don't see vintage, I zip past your table. If I see Pokemon, I zip past your table. If you're selling supplies, sometimes I stop because I want to see what you have. But I try to make sure that I can cover the room one to two times for sure. Now I've heard stories about the National where people say it's so big that you can't cover it. I was able to cover. I was at this show today from 11 to 6, and I covered both buildings twice. And the only reason I probably didn't do a third time was because I was exhausted by the end. I say this after every Burbank show. I don't know how you guys at the National do this because my old feet have had it. And when I left, Levon, LA Collection goes, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" And I said, "No, I'm tired. I'm going home." But it was a good time. There was a lot of cards. Uh, a lot of cards. I talked about parking. I talked about admission. You might, if you get there early, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I had a hoodie and I needed it for the first hour. Then I took it off and then I put it back on near the end because I stayed all day. So think about throwing in a hoodie or a windbreaker or something or a sweatshirt. Um, the body heat will eventually get you warm, but I did need it at certain parts. So bring that. I brought my backpack, obviously, and I brought some water, which I needed. I, if you can, try to bring in some snacks. There is food there. I picked up a burger, fries, and a Coke. It cost me $20. But there is food there, so that'll cover you. Plenty of restrooms. Aisle spaces, in my opinion, are wide enough. I was able to have, I had several conversations going in the middle of the aisle, and people were walking past us on either side of the aisle, and there was room. So there's plenty of room for walking around. You can get from one part of the building to the other in less than 5 minutes if you're doing a straight walk. So plenty of restrooms, plenty of food. AC worked. Wi-Fi was a little spotty. At times I tried sending pictures and videos to some of my YouTube text friends, and they weren't going through. I know eventually they got them, but so Wi-Fi is not bad. There is free Wi-Fi, so on your settings you'll see it. I think it's called OCC, like Orange or Ontario Convention Center. You'll see it. It's in there. So there is Wi-Fi, and it works fairly well. Aisles are wide. Good environment. Lots of people, lots of sellers from all over the country. I'm starting to recognize some of these sellers now are from the front row cards shows that I'm seeing in Pasadena, that have been popping up in Vegas and in Phoenix. Good group of people. I got to see some of my friends, which I love, which is one of my favorite parts. The whole YouTube thing. And you're looking at someone who, in my opinion, isn't very social, but making friends on YouTube has really, really left me with a big heart. And today I got to hang out with George, Diamond Yard Sports Cards, Levon, LA Collection, Eric. They all had tables together, and they were as nice as can be. They let me hang with them. I was tired, and at one point George just said, "Come sit back here and look at cards." And I sat down for like an hour between the lunch break and sitting back there at that table. It felt good, and it was fun to be. I had an okay day buying cards. I wouldn't call it a great day. I had an okay day, but it was a great show. It was a fun show. I got to see. Uh, I saw those guys that I just mentioned. I met Dominic and Tyler, who were kind enough to give me 2 tickets to the Pasadena show in May, and they had some nice stuff. And they showed me some cards and I said, "You know what? I'm not going to do it today, but if this is still available in May, let's talk." And they go, "I think it will be. We'll bring it if we have it." They're from Las Vegas. Really nice guys. Ashish was there as always with his plethora of vintage uh, cards, which are amazing. The Burbank card guys are the best. Bought a lot from them. Uh, got to hang out with Mike, the sports history collector. Finally got to meet him. We've been on a text thread forever, and it was nice to meet him. And I got to hang out with him for a few minutes, and I got to talk to him about cards and music and just some general things. I wish I'd gotten to spend more time with him, but I have a tendency of going my own way and just start looking for cards. And before you knew it, our time was up. But I got to hang out with Mike and his friend Bill. Spent some time with Geez Mikey. We talked a lot. I really got to know him. I think he's a very nice guy. And if you watch, and one of the reasons I'm not going to show much video is because I'm going to point you over to his channel, Geez Mikey, because Mikey was taking a lot of video. And I guess there's some video of me finally procrastinating and buying some cards because it took me forever. But I got to hang out with Mikey, got to hang out with Mike, sports history collector, and Bill. And like I said, I saw George, and I saw Levon, I saw Eric, saw Gloria. Just a great time. It was a great show. I left exhausted. If you're on, and I say this at the end of every video, if you were on the fence about this show, it's a very good show. This is my fourth one. I've been to every one. The first one in Burbank, 2 in Ontario, 1 in Orange County in Anaheim, and I plan on going next August. These are good shows, you guys, especially LA peeps. We need to start having these shows. We need some good shows in LA. We've got them. We've got this show, the Pasadena show, the Long Beach show. I don't think you guys have anything to complain about because we're getting some good stuff out here. But let me see. I think that's my recap on the show. If I failed to mention something, there's lots of cards. I think SGC and PSA are there. Yes, they are there in case you need to get some grading done. I saw very few supplies, but I'll be honest, I wasn't looking. So a friend of mine hit me up, but I was already like, I've walked the whole floor, but I didn't really notice supplies. And I generally when I go to a show, I only look for cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Yeah, I saw some. I did actually. George actually has a lot of autographs, and I did see. Oh, there was graded God, there was some vintage hockey cards. It was great. It was a good time. If you're on the fence, Saturday and Sunday, Ontario, California, it's going to take you an hour to get out there. No big deal. A good time. Lots of cards, and it was a good show. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you some of my pickups from there, and show you some footage that I got. It's not much, but you can take a look. All right, let me turn this camera around. All right, so as I mentioned, it was a quiet day. My goal was really 1963 tops. I was hoping to get anywhere between 6 to 10 cards. I got two or three. So I'll have to settle for that. When I was finding cards, I wasn't always agreeing with the price, or unfortunately, I was agreeing with the price and I wasn't agreeing with the condition. So I got pretty picky. So I only picked up maybe 2 or 3 cards from 1963. The first 2 cards I bought, these were bought from George, Diamond Yard Sports Cards. I've got the Joe Christopher and the Bobby Richardson cards. So I got those from George. I had been looking for this Richardson card forever. And typical of any Yankee from the 50s or the 60s, Yankees and Dodger cards are more expensive, and sometimes you just have to pay a little bit more. George was wonderful and gave me a great deal on these cards. So I got the Bobby Richardson, but if I had not bought it from George, I would have gone home empty-handed. Because when I'm seeing these on eBay, they're hard to get, and people want to spend a lot of money on it. So Joe Christopher, I already had a graded version of it, but I hate seeing an empty spot in my binder sheets. And it's one thing when you tell somebody, when somebody goes, why is this card, what card's missing on that binder sheet? It's one thing when you say like Sandy Koufax or Mickey Mantle, but when you say Joe Christopher, they're like, Joe Christopher, who's that? And so one day I am going to tell you a story about Joe Christopher. I just haven't gotten around to it. So those were 2 of the cards I bought. Now, I had no luck before lunch. I was oh for nothing. Oh, I hadn't found a thing. I ran into G's Mikey, and he was showing me all these nice cards that he bought, and he goes, "What about you?" And I go, "I haven't bought a thing." He was just kind of laughing at me, and so I was kind of like, "Damn it, I'm at a card show. You're supposed to be buying cards." So eventually, I ran over to the Burbank table, and I found these cards. So I'm going to lay these out for you one at a time. One of the things that I do is I told you I had a goal. I was looking for 1963. And then I have several other, 1961 Topps All-Stars I could be looking for. But if I don't find those, I do try to buy something just because I'm at a show, but I try to fall back on a certain set or certain type of card, just to start buying them. And you never know, you might start building something. And in my case lately, I've had this thing: if I can't find a card, I start looking at 1950 Bowman cards. So today, I was at the Burbank site, or I was at the Burbank card store, their table, and I was looking for 1963s. Wasn't having much luck, and I came across some night. I wasn't finding anything, so I go, let me start looking at 1950 Bowmans, and so this is Irv Noren, and I don't know if I'll ever build a set, but we'll see. There's Irv Noren. I have to look at the names here. Here is Mike Goliat of the Phillies. And you might say, Rick, why did you buy these? And I go, because they were a decent price. They looked in good shape, and they're nice. Look, I like the 1950 Bowman set. There is a side of it. Maybe one day I will start it up. But for now, we'll just buy cards here and there. Billy DeMars, excuse me. St. Louis Browns. And then the last card I bought from 1950 Bowman, and I really like this card, Leo DeRocher. And it looks like Leo DeRocher's on the Yankees, but he's not. This is Leo DeRocher, the manager of the New York Giants. So there's Leo DeRocher. So I bought those 4 cards, and the one card I did find from 1963 is a Brooks Robinson card. So I bought this one, and I'll give you some stats in a moment. But I bought this Brooks Robinson card. So these 5 cards I spent $50 for, and I'm good with that. I had a budget going into the show, and I didn't come anywhere near that budget. So tomorrow morning I'm going to the bank and put some cash in the bank. Nothing wrong with that. So I bought those. And really quick before I show you my last card, because it's been a long time since I discussed 1963. Lately, my videos are always focused on 1941 play balls. I want to show you 2 cards I've picked up recently. And on the left is the 1963 Ernie Banks. I won that in the last Robert Edwards auction. Auction they had a couple of weeks ago. Won that for $45. Nobody was making a move on that card. And then I won this Roger Maris card. I think I won it on eBay. Yeah, I won this Maris on eBay in a 6. So those are my 2 newest pickups, with the Brooks Robinson and with the Joe Christopher card and the Bobby Richardson card. I am now down to 12 cards to finishing this set. So getting a little closer there. This is something I hope to have done in the next couple of months. We'll see. I mean, I still need Mays and Aaron and Clemente, so we'll see. But that's where we're at there. And then as I was walking away from the Burbank table, I went to another table, and I wish I had gotten this guy's name because he was a really nice guy. He's a LA Chargers season ticket holder. He lives out in Vegas, and he had this 1950 Bowman Robin Roberts in a 2.5, and he wanted $50 for it. I asked him if he'd take 40, and he said yeah, so he took 40. So I ended up buying 5 1950 Bowman cards today, and I already have the Dodger team set. I have the Richie Ashburn. I have the Bob Feller. So I don't know if this is the beginning of a set, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what. I always never know what I'm going to do. But those are my pickups from the Burbank Card Show. So head on out there Saturday and Sunday if you can. And we'll talk to you next time, guys, if you stuck around this long. Thanks so much.